Alrighty. This will be the review for week 2 in Ashes of Creation. Where do I begin, to be honest? Alright, I am going to be very careful with everything I say. Once again, before I say anything, I don't mean to offend, I don't mean to step on any toes, and I don't mean to piss anybody off. These are just my opinions. Once again, my name is Roger. This is my week 2 in Ashes of Creation. I have officially spent 140 hours playing Ashes of Creation over the last 2 weeks. I have streamed 122 hours of those 140. I've had a few days off, but of those 140 on the actual in-game time, because I'm counting the time that I play when I'm not streaming as well. I've played about 10 hours a day every single day per average. I've gotten to level 16. I am pretty happy with where I am. I've played this game completely solo, completely blind, no guides and no use of the wiki up until this point. I've only been given a few hints here and there from being on stream and having people in my Twitch chat tell me things, but not very many. Just small things that make the game better. I've asked for a few things here and there to make my interaction with the game better, and I've learned a lot this week. This is the week of realizations, and lots of them. So, as you probably see on the left of my screen, there is the topics and points of interest. I thought it was funny to call them POIs because that's what we use in the game, so I thought I'd call them POIs. General thoughts on the game. Game's freaking awesome. The graphics are kind of an issue. They're awesome, but your computer's got to be damn good to handle them. My computer can't. I've had to turn mine down to medium, even potentially low. It's maxing out my AMD utilization on my card, and I'm getting a little worried. And even if I turn them to low, it is still on 99%. And quick thing, I'm not going to go in order for the points of interest. I'm just going to talk about them, but these are just the general things that I will be talking about over the next kind of 30 minutes. I'm going to try to keep these to 30 minutes if I can. But no, the game is really, really awesome. I've kind of settled more into the game. I've gotten a lot more control of my skill bar here. I believe once you start understanding this, if you don't come from this type of gaming, this is very hard to understand, but you need to understand it. Understanding how to control your camera, understanding where you want your HUD, where you want certain keys, and how your hand physically functions if you're not a WSAD player has been something that I've gotten a lot better with this week. And I personally felt my control get a lot better with it, but it's been still a challenge. I've still been sore, like I'm physically sore from the amount of time that I've been spending in the game and playing. This left arm and this left hand is physically sore. I literally took a day off. That's why my streamed hours are a little different than my played hours. Hello, that's a raid. I need to pause. Sorry, recording this is being done on Twitch, but that's a raid, so you guys will hear that. Hi, Tatersod TV, you guys have officially raided me. Hello, sir. How you doing? Thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate this. I'm in the middle of my monologue. So to those of you that are coming from the raid, I appreciate this. Thank you so much. I hope you had a good stream. I am monologuing about my current review of the game. I have played for 2 weeks. I played blind, and I'm currently giving my monologue that's going to be recorded for YouTube. So that's what this is. So hello to all of you. But here we go. So I was on basically where I was in the game and kind of talking about how I am in the game. It's good. It's good. I just started. So you're here for the starting of this for the next basically 30 minutes. I'm going to talk about what you see on the top left of your screen while my character actually just, I guess, sits here. I'm just using it so I can be, so I can have the game open and be talking. I don't mind that I'm not doing anything in game. It's just for the background, really, and for the YouTube. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm monologuing. If you haven't seen the first one, you can do ! YouTube to see it. But here we go. So, general thoughts. This game is amazing. I love this game. It's really, really fun. It has its bugs. You need to understand that you're playing an alpha. There are going to be issues. There are challenges with that, like quest lines are not finished. That some quests lock others out, and that might be intentional. Some things just aren't the way they're meant to be. And that's an alpha, so you have to understand that. The game, in terms of the just general graphics, it's pretty harsh. They're amazing, but they're harsh on your computer because it's not optimized. My AMD card is rough right now with these graphics. It's using like really max utilization, and that's worrying me. So I'm turning them down a little bit, and that's something that I am doing. But for me, making money has gotten a lot better in the game, and the reason for that is that generally my progression in the game has increased. So let me move this over here real quick. Crafting, I'll talk about it. I still can't touch it. I don't think I'm ever going to get to touch it. Maybe one skill, because you only get 5, and I think that's a little annoying. But I've done this. I've done 30 mining. Like, I actually am ready to go to the master level of mining, but I haven't done it intentionally. This is maxed out. This is maxed out. This is my other skill, and I'll talk about the way that I'm doing things. But this is the way I've been making money, is I've just been resource gathering, and that's why it says gather resource, just do gathering. As a solo player, I am forced into heavy gathering. So you guys gotta remember, this is from this perspective of a new player, I'm kind of forced into the gathering skill. So I've been doing mining, and I did actually do a lot more wood cutting. That was at a higher level, but I cut it back intentionally. But that's what I've been doing, and then selling the higher level resource. So I actually got some gold. Crafting haven't been able to get to, but we actually have some gold, and I'll bring up both the inventory now. So that feels good. And I have a set of gear, and I'll talk about the gear in the inventory now. I have officially gotten a full set of gear in 2 weeks. Last week, I didn't really have a full set of gear. I was still kind of running around in what I felt like was paper. But now I actually have a real full set of gear that I have gotten completely on my own, completely solo. Once again, no guides, no nothing. So I'm wearing caveat, the boots. I can't seem to find the boots. Nobody is selling them, but I have basically the full Arcane Aegis set, so I actually have some bonuses in game. I don't like this ring. I want to get another one of these, but I can't find one. But I actually have a decent main-hand weapon, and offhand here, I have a decent bow, and I have a set. So I actually have a set except for this piece. I want to get this piece. That's the last thing I need to finish. I've gotten to level 16 and a half. Solo XP is much harder to gain. Other things about inventory, that's why I brought it up. I have gained a bunch of tools, a bunch of these shirts to basically, I guess, increase my overall ability, and that's something I'll talk about. I don't fully understand these yet. I've picked these up even though I can't use them technically right now because I can't level that skill, which is annoying. So these items are basically useless to me until I choose to move that skill. I'll talk about that. But I have these, and I got myself a wand. I've got myself some food, my first variation of increasing boosts. So this is my first experience with boosting my stats. Otherwise, I've just got basic food. I've upgraded into a water mount, and this, which I actually think is glitched, I'll talk about that, and then this cat. So I've upgraded quite a bit. I have a full new set of mounts from, I was on the wolf mount and the horse mount when I was originally here. So we've upgraded all the mounts, the whole set of gear. I have most of the skills at level 16. I feel a lot more powerful in the game. So that's why I say the game feels better. Money gets better. Gear seems to be getting better. But my problem with gear is it seems to be group bossing locked. Almost every single starred monster or big creature that I have tried to fight, it's not possible. It's just not possible as a solo. So you need to be in groups. And the other problem that I've had is that I'll go up to a point of interest, as we call them in this game, and I won't know what it is. And all of a sudden, it's a ton of stuff I can't kill. And then I realize it's maybe a farming area, or it's not actually a dungeon. And this happened at something called the Church of the Seven. I was really excited. I had seen this in the early game. I thought this place was maybe, as a solo blind player, I thought this place was maybe a dungeon or a raid or something. And it wasn't. It's just a place you go to group farm. And you just kill these mobs in group farm and you finish this quest. And that's it. And it seems like this big point of interest on the map. I thought it was this raid or this dungeon, and it's not. And it's really hard to tell where the raids and dungeons are. And a lot of stuff just seems like it's group farming. That's what a lot of the points of interest seem like. I've been to quite a few of them. I've explored quite a bit of the game. And I think there's only a few big bosses. Other than that, you're going to be killing starred mobs and named mobs. And so I feel like as a solo player, it's damn hard, man. It's really hard. You have to be in groups. Though, if you're in groups, this game's pretty awesome. I've done a few grouping activities, and it's really awesome. It's really meant for groups. There's a lot more stuff that happens when the groups are together. And it's very important who you choose in your groups and your group mechanics. And so there's a lot more play there, and I will get into that play as I get more into the game in the next week. Same with PvP. Leveling, it slows down a lot if you're solo. I have a feeling if you're in groups, there's probably ways, if you're not blind or whatnot, there's probably ways to do so. So I see that, and I definitely understand that. But it's slowing down quite a bit, and that can be a little painful. But yeah, grouping is basically mandatory, whether it's for bossing, whether it's for raiding, whether it's for leveling, or the only thing that you seem to do solo is gathering, processing, and that's it. Even those, maybe processing and crafting, maybe I seem to think now that I'm understanding is that that's more of a guild type of thing because you can gain a lot more resources that way. And then let's go to PvP, because that's like just general thoughts on the first couple things. I saw a siege last night, and this was kind of rough to watch. I watched one side steamroll another, and it looked really cool. This was my first time getting to watch the PvP. I couldn't get into it. It was a global announcement across the game, but it's only, I think 100 versus 100 is what it's supposed to be right now. Supposedly it's going to 500 versus 500 at some point. That would be amazing. But basically it's where two cities fight is what I can understand. And one is attacking and one is defending. And what happened is the attackers, they just blew through the defenders, and it was like 15 minutes. It was only one round, and it was over quick. And you could tell that there was a gear diff. There wasn't a level difference, but there was definitely a gear difference. And that's, yeah, like you could see it. And so there were issues there. I won't give too many more thoughts. There's very differing opinions on how sieges should work and what they should be. But from my opinion, it was way too short. One side got steamrolled. There was no chance for them to come back once they started getting steamrolled. It seemed like they were just getting pushed through each time. And it seemed like the gear diff is actually just made the huge difference. The DPS coming from one side to the other was just wildly different. And coordination. I think the coordination also definitely helped. You could tell one side knew what they were doing and one side maybe didn't understand the whole siege mechanics. But it looked really, really awesome. Should be videos of it coming out. I think they happen every weekend. I hope to one day get in one, but you basically need to be a max player, and then you need to sign up on Discords with different guilds. And so once again, this is a grouping thing. If you want to do one of the bigger, cooler things in the game, you have to group. They're hard to know which ones you do, where you go, and they're very limited in telling you how to get different places. And that's a challenge because supposedly some of them do unlock you quite a few good items, but I don't know which ones those are, and there's nothing that tells you where those quests are or what ones to do, or it's the quest lines are all over the place. And so that is hard. There's no obvious progression. You get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm just farming to sell farm for gear, and what else am I doing as a solo? And so I'm going to be forced to go grouping next week, and that's my plan today. I want to group later, do something called, what I'm looking at, the Citadel. This is supposedly a grouping activity. It's supposedly got some pretty cool drops. I see these necklaces, the steel bloom necklace, or these other necklaces. I've heard of this place multiple times. Supposedly it's around level 16, so I should be, in groups that are doing it around this level. So this will be kind of my first real grouping experiences, like that's at my level. We'll be doing that today after I finish this. And throughout the rest of next week, I will be doing so. The codex is basically necessary, and I want to talk about that as I talk about bossing and grouping. You can't play this game without it. And the reason for that is that there is so much information, so many items. The armor and crafting are very, very, very complicated, and there is limited to no information in the game telling you what to do. So unless you're using an external resource, and the best we have is the codex, this game is really complicated. It's very hard to get all that information and understand all of that information, and we're still learning new things every single day. Another thing about the codex is that, for example, bosses, let's say you want to kill some, I guess some only spawn at night. Some only spawn when 2 moons are in the sky, or all 3 moons are in the sky. I heard about this. Or, there's spawn timers, and they're long, and they're camped. So if you want to go kill something, you need to know where it's spawning and what the spawn timer is, if the information is correct, which is also something you have to think about. The information might not be correct. So that's a challenge, and that's why I say the codex is necessary to play this game. The map, at least, is what I'm going to be using. I'm not fishing. No, I'm intentionally not fishing. It's broken, bro. I'm just sitting. I'm using this as a background. Sorry, don't worry. I'm not fishing intentionally. It's just a background right now of the game, so I could be in the Twitch channel of Ashes of Creation. Otherwise, I have to be in the Just Chatting channel. No, I'm intentionally not fishing. Don't worry. I'm sitting. And I'm just doing this for this. Don't worry. But yeah. So my issues is that I can't not group, and I'm gonna do so. I'm gonna join a guild. I'm probably gonna have to disband my own guild. I'm gonna go join one of the bigger guilds probably, because I'm forced to. If I want to go do any of that stuff in game, otherwise I'm completely locked out. So I'm forced to, and that's hard. But I'm gonna do so because I think the rest of it looks really, really, really awesome. Um, so I'm going to do so, but you're kind of forced. You have really no choice. You can like use the looking for group function in game, which is on here, down here. You can use it in here and say looking for group, find yourself a group as a solo, and I think that's the way to do it. But it feels like guilds, you just get access to so much more stuff. If you're not in a bigger guild, you won't get to do the city stuff. You won't get to do like the bigger stuff in the game. So you're forced, and I've realized that. I've realized that as a solo, there's even a solo clan. That might be the one I join. Is the other solos. They have the name solo on them. That might be the group I join. But I don't think I can even keep my own guild or run my own. I'd have to get it massively huge. And so it's just not possible to play a solo version of the game in complete totality. I'm still going to try to do so. I'm still playing a one-man army style, and I'm still going to play a blind solo style. I'm not going to look a bunch of stuff up. I'm not going to look up where drops are. I'm only going to use the map to basically keep the map so that I can see where bosses are and what their spawn timers are, and then I can maybe try to find them and kill them. And I'll try to kill them in groups of people, of friends from stream, or friends in the look grouping thing, or I'm gonna join a guild. And I'm gonna try to experience that game, that part of the game, in the next 2 weeks. So week 3 and week 4. Same with PvP. But I can't really do PvP till I'm maxed skill total, so 25. So I need to get to there. I feel like once I start grouping, that'll go a lot faster. So once I'm there, I can start thinking about PvP. But until I'm there, I can't. But it looks really fun, but I've heard it's pretty broken. I've heard bards basically can just one-shot you, or two-shot you, and that's not good. I've heard that it's not very balanced in PvP, is what I've heard. From what I saw last night, the sieges, it's not very balanced at all. It's very, very gear diff. If you have better gear, you're going to win. So we'll see. I don't know if skill is really a thing, if the gear diff is so strong, but that's what I can tell. That's what I can see. Yeah. I think really that those are my thoughts. I don't know if there's much more I can say. I've had a really good time. I think the game is really, really fun. I think the game is really hard. It's complicated. There's so much information. There's way more coming on the 19th. I'm very excited for that update. Once again, the community is awesome. I've thoroughly loved the community of people and the community of players. All chat is a little crazy in game. Global chat's like in any other game. It's a little wild. Little bananas there. But yeah, no, but you gotta understand, you're playing an alpha. You gotta use the codex because there's so much information, there's so many items. Crafting is super duper complicated, and you're very limited on skills. And that's the last thing I'm gonna talk about. It's the last thing I didn't really talk about or touch yet. You get 5, baby. That's it. You get 5. You don't get any of these. So in reality, what you need to do is, from what I can tell as a solo, is you get to pick basically a gathering skill and a processing skill and pair them, and then pair that with whatever crafting skill it pairs with. And that's what you're doing. And then maybe you get one more gathering and one more processing that go together that make you money. Or so what I'm doing, for example, is I have mining and lumberjacking as my 2 main money makers, and my third one is going to be hunting. Fishing was actually already like level 20, but I knocked it down because I realized I can't have that at level 20. So I already had to lose a bunch of experience here, which sucks. Because if you get to level 20 and you have to knock it down, it has to go back to level 10 and you lose the experience. So you have to be very careful with that. So that makes the leveling even more complicated and more group incentivized. Because you can't do everything. You have to use the market, or you have to use a group. Or you have to level like crazy amounts of experience. And it's just not feasible to do as a solo. So that's my strategy, is that I'm using the gathering and this processing skill, metalworking, as what I'm doing. I'm actually working on currently tanning. Tanning and metalworking are the 2 things that I'm actually working on in here. I had been doing stonemasing and lumber milling, but I had to lock them down because you only get 5 skills, and the rest have to be in the apprentice level. Novice level. They can't be apprentice. And that sucks. It really locks you out of a lot of stuff. Like, it really locks you out of the rest of this part of the game. It really locks you out of being able to do a lot of stuff as a solo you have to group, which I think is the game's intention, which I understand. So but that's what I'm doing as a solo. I'm using these to get to one of these. I think for me, it's going to be either tailoring. I think tailoring is the one I'm going to be doing. Whatever is the one that comes from skins. No, it's leatherworking. Yeah, so it's leatherworking for me. I will be doing leatherworking, and high-level leatherworking is my crafting skill, most likely. Or weaponsmithing, as I am doing metalworking. So hopefully that will work out for me as a solo, and that will work out as my strategy as a solo, but that's kind of where I am. I got to 30 mining. This was actually level 20, but I had to knock it down, so it's 10 now. I got to 21 woodcutting. This was 15, but I had to knock it down. This was 12, I had to knock it down, and then this is 15 now. I'm going to use tanning as one of my other skills down here, maybe. And then I'll pick one of these. It's either going to be arcane engineering, leatherworking, armor smithing, or weaponsmithing. It's going to be one of those, but you don't get more. And that's a grievance that I have with the game. I really wish I just got one more. I wouldn't mind the system. I just want one more, so that I get 2 in crafting, 2 in gathering, 2 in processing, so that it's even. It matches up. I can do kind of like make my weapons and make my clothing, right? I can't make all my jewelry. I can't make all this other stuff. I can't do a lot of this stuff, but I can at least make my own freaking gear. Otherwise, I could just make some wands and sell them, but and so it forces you that way, and I like that, but I don't like it. So that's kind of where I'm going with the game. I think that's kind of what I wanted to say. This system's pretty awesome. This system is annoying, how that stuff breaks. But yeah, no, otherwise, game's really damn fun. And yeah, armor's complicated, crafting is complicated, basic features are really not explained. You're gonna have to learn stuff from the community. You're gonna have to talk to people. You're gonna have to join a guild. You're probably gonna have to join one of the big ones if you want to do some of the higher level stuff in game, especially the really high tier stuff. Gear diff really matters. The rare, heroic, legendary stuff really matters when it comes to gear. There are sets in game. Group bossing is basically mandatory. Group leveling is basically mandatory unless you want to grind like I am solo. And yeah, that's really what I think. Overall, I've had a really good time in the game. I can't wait for my next week. The next week, like I said, previous video, I'm going to be trying to work on leveling up and getting bigger. And getting stronger. I'm maybe upgrading my whole set of gear again. I don't think I'm going to focus on upgrading my entire set of gear again. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not really positive. So I have to ban somebody. Some stupid bot came in my Twitch chat. I'm not really positive what I'm going to work on mostly. I have a full set of gear now in game, so I'm happy about that. So I'm not really positive on what I will work on for that aspect. I think I'm going to work on a lot of guilds, getting into a guild, joining one of the bigger guilds, and then going from there, really, and trying to do some of the group bossing game. I'm still going to do a lot of solo play and try to play the game really solo, but I'm going to use the guild to do group bossing. I want to go do, like, this Citadel right now and go do this with a group, and I have to do this with a group. It's not possible solo. I went and looked at it, and there's no way I can kill those bosses solo. So, you know what I mean? That's just the way the game is. I might try to kill some of them using the Codex solo. I'm not going to look up where things are, and that's what my next week will be. Just kind of trying to go kill stuff. I did a lot of gathering the first 2 weeks to get to where I am, and I would like to start doing points of interest, doing dungeons, doing bigger quests, and going and killing bosses with groups of people. And so that's what I will be doing over the next couple weeks. Hopefully, that'll get me to level 25, and that will allow me to basically get in some PvP. I don't know if I'll get in very much PvP in level 25 if they wipe us before the wipe. If there is a wipe, I don't think there's going to be actually at this point. My opinion on that has kind of changed, that there's probably not going to be. People don't really want one, and I think it'd piss off a lot of people. And I don't think there will be one anymore after my first week. But your second week in this game is a lot of realizations. It's a lot of eye-opening moments of like, okay, this is how this game works. But if you're looking up guides and playing with this group, with groups and guilds and all that stuff, man, I think this game is awesome. Like, if you got a group of 4 good friends that you play with, you know, your group of 5 from League, or, you know, you got a group of 4, group of 3, dude, you could do some holy fun stuff in this game, man. This game could be really challenging and really awesome for smaller groups. I think bigger groups kind of slap things around, but I think small group play could be really fun and really challenging. But thank you so much. If you stuck around to the end of this, I really appreciate it. And I will create a total 1-month review at the end. I'm not going to do a 3-week review. I will do a 1-month review, and then I'm going to do a 60-day review. So this will be the last week review that I do. But the first week was just like, oh my gosh, information overload. And then you kind of settle in. The second week is where it's like tons of realizations. So yeah, it's been really fun. I think week 3 and week 4 are where I'm really going to start to get into the meat of the game, and that's what I'm excited for. But thank you so much. And for those of you in the Twitch chat, thank you so much for hearing me monologue for a while. I would like to do Citadel. I'm going to stop the recording now, and we'll go do that. So thank you so much, guys.